Have a lovely evening. You're muted while you're backstage, but hopefully we're not backstage anymore. Hello, everybody. Just making sure you can hear me. Sound is on. Yes, it's working. Right, marvellous. Hello. After 3, 1, 2, 3. Good evening, friends. Good evening. Good evening and welcome to this wonderfully uplifting, we must make it wonderfully uplifting, Thursday service at Littleport Village Hall. It is a pleasure to see you all here tonight. Wanderers returning from their jaunts away, people feeling more fulfilled and uplifted with their health and able to make it out. And of course, all of you, you are most welcome. I'm grateful and overjoyed to see you all here because tonight we've got lots to get through and lots to send out in terms of energy. So I'm going to kick straight off by saying, please welcome a good friend of this church, a wonderful exponent of this way of life, and a very, very, very dear friend, not to mention a very, very old dear friend, long-term dear friend. It's only borrowed, as Dad used to say. Please give a big Littleport welcome to the wonderful John Ennis. Lots, as I said, to go through tonight. So I'm going to dive straight in with some notices, and I'm trying to be organised, so excuse me. Please be reminded that tomorrow night at Barraway Drove, they've got the lovely Mandy Smith serving. So if you're out near the Downer Market Way, please go along and support them. Always a good night. Bristol's still there too. So do support Barraway Drove. I hear that they, from time to time, have some excellent healing there too. So go along for that as well. A little bit of a shameless self-promoting plug for the church. On the 6th of December is the Winter Mind, Body and Spirit Fair. From 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. there will be crystals, there will be healing, there will be Reiki, there will be tarot, there will be readers, gifts galore and much, much more, including refreshments and tombola. It is free entry, and if you want to know anything else, have a word with the one with her hand up there, Cheryl. It is going to be a great day. Looking forward very much to that. We also on Sunday have our workshop, which will be in the day centre, and it will be, let me see, from 10:30 until 3:30, which is exciting in many ways. The fact that I remembered it is one of those many ways. So if you're interested in coming along and learning about mediumship and development, it will be the first of a series of workshops that are all going to be loosely connected in a journey, but loose enough so that if you miss one, you ain't going to be in trouble or nothing, because we don't do that here. So that is on Sunday. I'd also like to give a big shout out and a big thank you to Tony and Barry, because Tony and Barry are going to be representing the church this year at the Remembrance Day Parade in Littleport. So a big thank you to the both of you for representing us on such an important event. It's appreciated, and we know that you'll do us proud. And that is the notices. Other than a quick prompt and reminder, I know it's a week early, but it's important. Not this Sunday, of course, because that's the workshop, but the following Sunday will be the last opportunity of 2025 to come along to the White Feather Shamanic Drum Healing Group, which will be from 10 until 1. Don't look so surprised. It has been years. I've got to get it right one time, ain't I? The reason I mentioned early is because I hear on the grapevine that there will be a Secret Santa. So if you want to know about that or any details, have a word with Eunice. So friends, before I go into our opening prayer, because I did say there's a lot to send out. Of course, it will be part of the healing, and I know Tony will lead that, but it would be remiss of me not to say that a very dear friend of this church, the lovely Burnett Britton, she has not been with us recently, but she has been coming on and off as long as I have, because she was one of 4 spiritualists that first introduced this way of life to me. Lynn and Kathy, rather well known by reputation, are 2 of them, but the not so well known because of just life and opportunity was the lovely Ken and Burnett Britton. We lost Ken last year. And Burnett has asked, I've asked for healing for Burnett over the last week. She is extremely poorly. Please, please, please keep your healing passing forward to Burnett, please. She is a force to be reckoned with, even still now. I went to see her at Adam Brooks yesterday. And as I walked in and said, room for one more, a hand went into the air and said, "Ah, Nick, about time." Something to do with my reputation for timekeeping. And we had about 2 or 3 hours chewing the fat and living on old memories and discussing the state of everything. So she, as she said, I've still got the mind I was blessed with, and I continue to use it. But as is with life, the body lets us down. So please send your healing and uplifting thoughts to a very dear friend of this church and of mine, because I say this not lightly. Without the likes of Lynn and Kathy and Ken and Burnett, spiritualism would have taken an awful lot longer to get to this village. And yes, Burnett has been about. We were talking about her travels and all the different places she's been. But of course, one of the most notable places she spent a lot of time at was at Stansted Hall as one of the secretaries. And she was quite a familiar face behind the counter, and I'm sure quite a fearsome sight to see when people got out of hand. I certainly wouldn't want to mess with her even now. So from all of us right here in this hall and on behalf of all of Littleport, Burnett, we love you. We're sending you our healing thoughts, and I know everyone at home joins in doing so as well. So please keep her in your thoughts throughout this evening, particularly during the healing, but especially as we open this service in prayer. As we say, Great Spirit, divine universal source of all, we thank you. We thank you for the wondrous opportunity to come together as friends, for we know that the world of spirit guides and directs us to the places we need to be, the places we should be, and the places where we can learn. And more importantly, guides us to the people that we meet, as we do here today. We ask that this service be blessed with love, laughter, light and upliftment, insight, truth, wisdom and healing. We ask that the veil be lifted and that our loved ones draw close, come forward, draw forward, and aid and assist your instrument tonight, John, in helping the proof and truth of survival come forward. And in that spirit, great spirit, I ask for a blessing to be placed on each person here present and all those that are watching and will watch, that your love and light and upliftment might spread across the world. Amen. Well, friends, now is the time in our service when I say a few words, and I will keep it brief. But I actually want to go back very, very briefly to my lecture, I mean conversation with Burnett yesterday. Because one of the things, if you've been in this way of life any amount of time, is you get opinions, you get ideas, and you have thoughts. And boy, did we share a few. And one thing that I've been speaking about a lot recently is discernment. Being discerning, seeking truth, checking and verifying and double checking to make sure that what we perceive is the world of spirit and not either our own thoughts and feelings interrupting them or other people's thoughts and feelings overtaking them. So discernment is important. But I was reminded by someone I dare not disagree with that there's another D that's important. And it's not vitamin D, although it is quite useful this time of year. Discipline. Now, when we hear the word discipline, it's like, oh, be careful, dangerous road to go on, very, very, grrr. But actually, there's the most important form of discipline, and that is self-discipline. Being in control of one's thoughts, being in control of one's own feelings, and how we carry ourselves forward, portray ourselves forward, and demonstrate not only ourselves, but what we represent to the outside world. And if you can hear me getting passionate and hoity-toity and on my pedestal, then you know what kind of an influence that Burnett can be in terms of inspiring. Because one thing that she did know and does know in her development and continues to teach right now is discipline. Because the ultimate response, the ultimate growth from self-discipline is respect for the self and most importantly for each other. And that was the conversation that truly inspired me yesterday because it's something I had forgotten and missed out. And you always need somebody to remind you and guide you. That's what spirit are for, and we are all living spirit. And our experiences help us to learn these lessons and grow these lessons. Self-discipline is a form of self-respect. Knowing your limits, knowing where you need to grow and evolve, knowing where you could learn more, and knowing when to leave well alone. And the ultimate response to that is self-respect. And if you respect yourself, by nature you start to respect others. I had an interesting conversation this week just outside that front door. And I know that there are many people with many opinions and views on the youth of today. I have to admit, I had a bit of fun at his expense. There was a young lad with a couple of bottles of pop and a mobile phone standing out the front of the village hall. And occasionally you'd see, but most of the time, it was propped up against the window facing outwards. And I heard him say a very few important words that gave a clue. Okay, chat, we'll be back at 5 o'clock, because then it will give people a chance to get on. He was ticky-tocking, as Dad would have said, ticky-tocking. He was on TikTok. He was doing a live feed. He was making use of the public Wi-Fi in Liverpool. And he'd found a spot that was relatively secluded up there, where he wasn't interfering with anybody. Now, there would be those that would see that going on and, oh, yeah. I opened the door. Well, first off, I sat in the day centre listening to what he'd got to say on his live feed whilst I was waiting to do the hoovering because I didn't want to disturb him. But that's by the by. I went outside and he stood there and said, "Oh, good morning, sir." He obviously doesn't know me very well. I ain't no sir. But it was polite and friendly. So I said, "Good morning" back. And he went, "Oh, I am on live if you don't want to be seen on the internet." Thoughtful, respectful young chap. Oh, it's all right. I spend a little bit of time on the internet myself. Hello. So it's fine by me, but you carry on. You're not interfering with anybody. I said, I will say, you are using the public Wi-Fi and not your data, aren't you? And he went, yeah. I said, oh, good, because the speed's amazing outside here, isn't it? Do you know what? I thought my lives were doing well over here. And we had about 5 minutes chatting. And as I left, I heard the words, "Sorry, was just chatting to some bloke outside the hall. I like him, he's friendly." This isn't about me. This is about our response to people. We all draw assumptions. We all have images, stereotypes, prejudices. We can't help it sometimes. But I tell you this much, if we break them down, if we drop our guard for once every now and again, when it is safe to do so, and open up to new possibilities, we make new friends, and we find them in the most unusual and unexpected places. Because respect, as I was told yesterday, with a very stern look, I will say, is a two-way street. You earn it. You don't expect it. You give it, and you get it. Just like healing. Just like love. Just like the connection with spirit. So self-discipline, self-respect, and mutual respect is a path to compassion, a path to friendliness, a path to a better world. So let's just do it. God bless you all. Thank you for listening. And let's just be nice. And now is the time in our evening where we will have a reading and see, oh, good luck with that one, Caroline. If our reading parallels in any way with what Spirit encouraged me to say on behalf of the experiences of the week. And so please welcome to the front to give us our reading tonight, the lovely Caroline.
Okay, I don't know whether it does or not, but it's called The Twilight Years. So here they are, the twilight years. All too soon we face our fears of growing old and aging quickly, being grumpy and feeling prickly. But these years need not be upsetting. They are the years you should be getting, some time for you to relax and enjoy. So spread your wings and deploy. In the twilight years you settle down, no more late nights on the town. But that doesn't mean you can't have fun. Your life isn't over, you can still run. Get out in the open and explore. You never know just what's in store. Your twilight years need not be boring. Go live and feel your senses soaring. With age comes wisdom, knowledge, and grace. The lines are etched upon your face. So find your feet in your twilight years, raise a glass and say cheers.
Lovely. Lovely. And you know what? I actually think that does parallel. I really, really do. But there we are. That's spirit for you. So now, friends, I'm going to hand over for a... Oh, there he is. Bit like an apport. Just appears out of nowhere. I'm going to hand over for our healing. Please welcome our healing leader. And also a bit of a new explanation, so do pay attention. Please welcome Tony.
Thank you. I'll do the explanation first, so as not to bore you any more than I need to. From tonight onwards, the healing book will go home with Nick. So if during the week, and he says at any time, you need a name put in the healing book, just send him a message and he will do that. And then it will be there instantly. Of course, it will be read out on the following Thursday, but it will be there straight away. So tonight's name is for you to just have in your mind in a little while when it's time for the healing to be done. Burnett Britton and family, Trace Lapworth, Sarah McGeechee, Lynn and Kathy, Cheryl Waters, Linda Brown, Harold and Ryan, Sherry Bodman Barnes. It's got to be Nick's writing. Jason Boniface, Helen Walstow, Kaza, Nelson, Blake Cooper, Leanne Cooper, John T. Stratton, and Chloe. If you can remember all of those in just a minute or three. If any of you would like some close proximity, hands-on, call it what you like, hand healing, just raise a hand and please keep it there until somebody stood with you. There we go. There you go, healers. There's a couple, 3, 4. Good, there we go. Yep, that's fine. Oh, yeah, we're nearly there. Just a few words from me, please. Great Spirit, would you please send your healing powers down through our healers to those who have requested it? And at the very same time, please protect them from anything they don't want to receive back. Healers, you have about 3 minutes to do your work right now.
Spirit, Father, Mother, God, divine source of the universe and great Creator. Here we bring unto you all those listed in all the healing books throughout the land. Be they sick in mind, body, spirit, or soul, that it may please thee to heal them, those we know, those we do not know, those that have no one to ask for them. We ask for them now. Those we know, those we do not them now. We ask for them now.
Joe's back. And as I say every week, thanks to those of you who asked. It is the most important thing you'll do this week.
Indeed, thank you to Tony and to all of our healers from me as well. Well, friends, let me rise up from my seat one last time before the main event.
Oh, you got somebody good?
Apparently.
Oh, okay. I'll sit back and watch it.
It always is uplifting, not to mention a little bit nerve-wracking, because we don't half have some fun. I was reminded yesterday that we're approaching 30 years of Littleport Spiritual and coming up very, very quickly now, which is quite scary, especially since I was 18 and he was one of our first mediums.
I know I'm old, but stop piling it on, Nick.
Well, you're going to get your own back later, so I might as well get my own back first. But I do know you're in for a good night tonight. John is a dear friend and a true exponent of this way of life. So, should he come to you, please answer in a clear voice. Yes, no, don't know. Don't feed the medium, he'll bite your hand off. If the curtains start twitching and the chairs start spinning, wrong week, that was last week because it's not Halloween anymore, so you can follow me, I'll be the first one out, which reminds me, our exits are here, here and through here. Should you need the bathroom, please do it in a... You should be standing up doing that.
I'm doing the air hostess bit, mate.
Yeah, you should stand up and do it.
I do it in all the churches.
I'll get you the blow-up jacket and everything.
No, I don't want the blow-up jacket.
Get you the whistle to blow it all.
I'll have a whistle.
Speaking of Halloween, the last time he was here on Halloween, he dressed up as a werewolf and nobody recognised him when he came in the door.
It was good, I had hair as well.
And I know! But as you can see, you're in for an uplifting night, so please give a warm Littleport welcome, not to mention your ear, to John Ennis!
Right. I don't know why I keep pulling my trousers up, because I fall down again anyway. Okay, most of you have seen me before. God, I didn't realise I've been coming here that many years. I know I've been coming a long time, but I didn't realise it was that long. Must be getting near time for me to hang my boots up.
Never.
Okay, for those who haven't seen me before, you perhaps weren't born, so don't worry about it. Just sit back, enjoy the evening. All I need from you is, same as normal, just try and remember the colour clothing you're wearing from the waist upwards. Sit back, relax. If there's any new people here, if you want a message from somebody specific, you need to get them out of your head now, because they'll sit and talk to you all night. They won't talk to me because I'm a stranger. So we'll just see what happens. We'll see where we're going. The only thing I can guarantee tonight is that there won't be any swearing. They do push me a little bit, but normally there'll be no swearing. So we'll just see what happens and we'll see where we go. Can I go to the lady with the grey top, please? As I'm with you, I've got a lady coming in for you. Don't panic, there is a man, but I want to bring the lady in first. And as the lady comes in, she's about 5'5", 5'6". She's quite a cuddly lady, as I see her. She's got quite short hair. She's telling me her hair is naturally wavy, but she prefers to have it curly. And I know she has, well, her hair was in rollers and curlers more than it was out of them. And she's saying she used to sleep in it, go to the shops in it and everything. A really down-to-earth lady. She's also telling me as well that as organised as she could be, she was a bit of a scatterbrain at the same time as well. I'm going, really? She said, oh, I can never remember where I put things down, dear. She said, I'm terrible. And she says, before you say anything, it's no good me making notes because I can't remember where I put the pens and I can't remember where I put the notebooks. So she says it's pointless making notes. But she's coming in around you because she's saying there's a lot of changes going on around you at the minute. And she's saying, you've just got to ride it out, girl. She says, a lot of the changes that are going on, you've instigated. So she says, keep pushing forward with them. Changes that others have brought about you, she says, you'll make the right choices as you go along. And she says, you've got to keep believing in yourself. She says, but more importantly, she says, and I've told you this time and time again, listen to the voice in your head, she says, because it never lets you down. So in other words, go with your instincts. And she says, the more you do that, she says, the more you'll succeed. She's bringing a gentleman forward for you now. Now, I'm 5'8". This gentleman's about 5'9", 5'10". He's got quite darkish hair. Make your mind up, mate. It's all right. 1 minute he's clean shaven, then the next minute he's got a beard, then he's clean shaven, then he's got a beard. And I said, what's the matter with you? He said, well, I can't decide what suits me and what doesn't. He says, so when I get hot, he says, I shave it off. And when it gets colder, he says, I grow it again. And with this gentleman, his hands are quite hard. So I know he would have worked with his hands as well. And as I'm seeing him in his younger days, he's quite a muscular gentleman as well. He's telling me educational wise, he wasn't very clever. He says, but he learnt a lot from the school of life. And he says, he always had his opinions. He says, the only trouble was, he says, there was more women in the house, so nobody ever listened to my opinion. He says, but on the occasions that people did ask, he says, then I would give it. He's just telling me that he's behind you every step of the way. And he's giving you that extra strength and that extra support. He says he's sorry if he scared you at the weekend. He says it was him that was stood behind you when you could see a shadow. And he says it's just me there giving you that strength and giving you that support. And he says you've got nothing to worry about and nothing to panic about. He's also bringing in a black Labrador. But the trouble is with this black Labrador, he's telling me it's black, but as I'm looking at it, it looks more grey because it's that old. And it is an old Labrador. The Labrador's just saying that it had a good life, and it says, please take this the right way, because it's not very often dogs talk, but this one is. And he's saying, I was lazy when I was down there. He says, I'm even lazier up here. He says, I have my food brought to me, all my drinks brought to me. He says, don't have to walk anywhere because everybody carries me. He says, so it's great. He says, I feel like a 2-year-old. He says, but I act like a 16-year-old. He says, so I'm getting the best of both worlds. But why they're all here around you, as I say, they're giving you that strength and they're giving you that support, and they just want you to keep looking to the future. She said, because they're saying you have got a future. They're also, the ladies just shouted out that I need to remind you of a birthday or an anniversary. So it's either in the last 2 weeks or the next 2 weeks. But I do feel it's one that's coming, not one that's up past. So from all of them to you, there's a lot of love and strength, and I'll leave all that one with you, and I'll say thank you very much. Can I go to the gentleman with the black jacket, please? As I'm with you, I've got a lady coming in for you, and as this lady's coming in, okay, right. As this lady's coming in, she's going, I'm your worst nightmare, boy. And I'm going, really? She's going, yeah, she says, because he doesn't like it when I come in to talk to him. I'm going, why is that then? She says, because he never knows if I'm being serious or taking the mickey out of him. She says, but I'll tell you tonight. She says, I was going to come and tell you off. She says, but I'm not going to bother. I went, why? She says, he's had a bad week, bless him. She says, nothing's gone his way at all this week. I says, well, what's wrong with that? She said, well, nothing. She says, he doesn't learn from his mistakes. He keeps making the same mistakes over and over. So she says, he's only got himself to blame anyway. I says, oh, okay. She's going, yeah, she's saying, and she says, what's happened to you over the last 3 months? She says, I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be doing that. I'm going here. I'm going there. I'm going to visit. I'm going to make amends with family and some friends. She says, you've done nothing. She says, you sit there feeling sorry for yourself. She says, come on. She says, get a move on. She says, have a wriggle and a shake. She says, because you have got a lot to look forward to. She's also saying as well, it's no good getting your slippers out and treating yourself for Christmas. She says, because you're not going to have time to open anything. She says, because you're going to be that busy. She says, believe it or believe it not, she says, you will be playing Father Christmas. She says, in more ways than one. And I'm going, what do you mean? She says, well, he might play Father Christmas with the suit on. She says, but he'll be playing Father Christmas as himself as well. So there's going to be lots of friends and family around you at Christmas. And she says, and don't go, no, I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered. She says, just get out there and enjoy yourself. And she says, in the nicest possible way, and this is the pot calling the kettle here because I'm passing the message on. She says, just let your hair down, boy, and enjoy yourself. I'm going, really? She's going, yeah, tell him to let his hair down and enjoy himself. She's also saying as well, no, he ain't got none. I'm going, why? She said, she's going, what's this about you being scared to have a tattoo done? She says, you've never been scared of anything in your life. She says, if you want a tattoo done, she says, go and get it done. She says, you build yourself up, She says, and hey, presto, you wake up in the morning, you talk yourself out of it. She's saying, but if you want the tattoo done, she says, go and get it done. She's bringing a gentleman in for you now. Now, as this gentleman comes in, he's about 5'10", 5'11". He's quite stockily built. And even as a young man, he's quite stockily built as well. And he's just saying, he says, no going down the gym for me, son. He says, a shovel and a pickaxe, he says, is all you need to get muscles in the right places. And he's also telling me as well, he says he was the envy of every woman. And I'm going, why? He says, well, I could eat as much food and as much chocolate as I wanted. He says, and my belly never got any bigger. And I went, yeah, but you did a lot of work. He says, yeah, but he says, even when I packed in work, he says, I still ate. He says, and my belly still didn't get any bigger. He's also saying as well that he was a very good support network for a lot of people, but not that he went out of his way to do it. But if people came to him for advice or a bit of support, he would be the first one to put his arms around them and say, come on, you can do it, you can do it. And he says, you're exactly the same. He says, but your problem is, he says, you doubt the gift that you've got. And he says, you've got a very special gift. And he says, never be afraid to use it. So what he's saying is, if people come to you for a bit of help, a bit of guidance and a bit of support, he says, give them it. He says, but remember what he used to say, it's no point in waffling because it comes back and bites you. If you're not sure about something, say, I don't know, but I'll find out for you. And he says, you're very down to earth. He says, and people like you for who you are, not what you are. And he says, you've got to keep improving. He says, you've got that ability. He says, you just need to trust yourself a lot more. He says, because your friends all trust you. He says, in fact, they trust you more than you trust yourself. So he says, you need to trust yourself more. He says, and get out and about a lot more. He says, and the more you do it, the better it'll be. I don't know why. I don't know if this is, obviously it's important for some reason. I've got to give you 8, 16. Yeah, there's only more. No. I've got to give you a 16-speed racing bike. The only trouble is I'm going back a little bit. And the seats on them are not very comfortable at all. And they're only about that wide. He's saying they're not built for comfort, they're built for speed. And he says, get on your bike, he says, and get moving forwards, boy. He says, because the more you can do it, he says, the better it'll be for you. Come on then, quickly. There is another lady who comes in, and as this lady comes in, she's only about 5'2", 5'3". She's very quiet. She's very polite when she speaks. And she's just coming around you and she says, you weren't born with a silver spoon in your mouth, but you were born with a gift that others would kill for. So she says, it's about time you started using it instead of hiding it away again. She says, so she wants you to move forward with the gift that you've been given. And she says she had the gift and somebody else in the family had the gift. But she's saying you're the first man in the family who's got the gift. So she says, don't let the women down. She says, get out there and start to use it. So from all of them to you, there's a lot of strength, a lot of love and support and guidance. And I'm going to leave all that one with you and say thank you very much. Can I go to the lady, is it a beige biscuit jumper, please? As I'm with you, I've got 2 ladies coming in for you, and I know you're sitting down, but the first lady who's come in, she's jumping up and down behind you like a yo-yo. I'm here, tell her I'm here. I went, does she want to talk to you? She says, no, she don't want to talk to me. I just wanted to know that I'm here. I went, really? She says, yeah. I said, well, why are you here? She says, I'm being nosy and I want to listen to everybody else's messages. I says, what do you mean? She says, I was nosy when I was down there. She says, I'm still nosy now that I'm up here. She says, nothing changes. She says, everybody thinks when you pass over, you get your wings and your sweetness and light. She says, no, I'm still the same old miserable person that I was when I was down there, she says. And she says, I do. She says, they still call me Mrs. Pinocchio. She says, because I like to have my nose in everybody else's business. She says, just in case it affects me. And she's just saying as well, and I'm not saying you're nosy, so I'll put that out straight away, but she's saying you two are very similar in appearance. You're also very similar in the way you act and the way you talk. She's also saying as well that you have got more patience in your little finger than she had in her whole body. She said, because I just could not be doing with people moaning at me all the time. She says, people just moan. She says, nobody asks if I'm all right or if I've got any problems. She says, I never got the chance to moan at anybody. She says, because they're always moaning at me. She says, but you are completely different. You listen to people. And she says, you've always listened all the way through your life. And she says, you still listen now. Oh, I'm going to end up in a lot of bother here. You still listen to everybody now, apart from the gentleman sat on your right. Because you go, oh, he's talking again, I'll turn my hearing aid off. She's got hearing the same as gentlemen have. She's got invisible hearing aids. When she don't want to listen, she just turn off. And, oh, Emmerdale's on. Oh, turn it back on. I don't want to miss a bit. But yeah, but she's around you because she's saying, she's told time and time again over the last 6 months to start slowing down a little bit. She says, you seem to be getting faster and faster, she says, instead of slowing down. She says, you don't have to be everywhere all the time, you know. She says, but a little bit here and a little bit there. She's bringing the other lady in for you now. Now, as this other lady comes in, she's about 5'6", 5'7". She's got quite longish hair. It's between her ears and her shoulders. I do know that when this lady was younger, she did have very long hair. And she had long hair. She's telling me her late 30s, early 40s. But from her early 40s onwards, her hair started coming up a little bit. She's telling me her hair used to be quite thick. She says, but in later years, it started thinning out a little bit. And she says, I used to have to change my hairstyle. She says, because every time I wash my hair, I'd find another handful of hair in my hand. So she says, I used to have to change my hairstyle all the time. No, that's not very nice. Okay, right. I've got to give it. She's giving me it. She's telling me. She says, it'd be all right if the hair grew as quick on my head as it did on my chin. Well, obviously you understand it. And I've got to give it that way too, because you wouldn't accept it, she's telling me. But this lady, I've got to say, is a very clever lady in her own way. And she says, you're very clever as well. She says, but you're very good at balancing the books, as she puts it. So balancing life, but balancing family and friends as well. And she says, the more you can do that, the better it'll be for you. But the 2 ladies are both talking at the same time now. And they're just saying, you need to slow your thought processes down a little bit, because upstairs you still think you're 25. These poor old things down here, they're well past 25. They can't keep up with what this is telling them to do. So you just need to slow your thought processes down. But by all means, keep being active. I feel sorry for the gentleman, because you're already planning what you're doing next summer in the garden. I'd book a holiday, mate, if I was you. So she's saying there is a lot of opportunities next year for you and the year after. Now, next year there is going to be a lot of travel. And also there is going to be a lot of travel from the middle of December to the middle of January. So whether it's visiting friends coming to visit you, family, but you're going to be a little here, there and everywhere. not big distances, but it could take its toll if you don't have a rest in between. So she says, the more you can do that, the better it'll be. There's a gentleman who just wants to come in to say hello to you. And as this gentleman comes in, yes, I've got that. As this gentleman comes in, he would have been a heavy smoker because all I'm getting is plumes and plumes of smoke. And they're plain cigarettes as well that he smoked. He's going, I could afford it, he says, but I like the taste of Woodbines. So he's on Woodbine cigarettes. But he does come through with a lot of love and a lot of strength. He says he's raising a glass of stuff to you, and it looks like whiskey. I don't want to preempt it, but it does look like whiskey. And he's saying he's raising a glass to you. So for either you or the gentleman or somebody in the family that's very close, there must be a birthday or an anniversary, either just gone or just coming, because he says he wants to raise a glass to you. And I says, don't you mean in good health? He says, no, he says, you don't need to wish her good health. He says, that one's always in good health. He says it's everybody else that falls down all around us. He says, she's the kingpin that keeps everybody else going. So he says, but don't ever change, always be yourself. So from all three of them to you, a lot of love and a lot of strength, and I'll leave all that one with you, and I'll say thank you very much. Can I go to the gentleman? Ooh, Star Wars, man. As I'm with you, I've got a lovely lady coming in for you, and as she's coming in, she just wants to wrap her arms around you and just give you a big cuddle. And she says, and I'm going to embarrass the hell out of you because I'm going to give you a kiss at the same time as well. She says, I didn't always do it when I was here. She says, but I'm making up for it now. And she says, yes, she's the one that's been pestering you for the last 2 weeks. She says, because you've not been doing what you've been told to do. She says, you're burning the candle at both ends again. She says, you need to start making more time for yourself. She says, and the more time you can make, the easier it'll be for you. She's also saying as well, she didn't mean to scare you. It's Thursday. How far back we're going? A week last Tuesday, when you looked in the interior mirror of the car, there was somebody sat on the back seat and it scared the living daylights out of you. She says, yes, it was me. She says, but when you looked, I was on my way out. She says, not on my way in because I didn't think you were looking. And it was her. She says, but there again, she shouted you to. She says, but you're a stronger team than even she thought you would be. She says, and as you've gone through life, you two have got stronger and stronger and stronger. Oh, I've got an argument now. Come on, then. It's all right. I've got another lady coming in, and she's telling the first lady that she's not allowed to talk to you because she's not a blood relative. She's an in-law. She says, I'm the blood relative, and I'm coming in to talk to her, so you can go back in the cupboard. I'm going, whoa, 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 ladies. I don't know if they didn't get on when they were down here, but they don't mince the words up there. They don't mince the words up there neither. So I'm going to bring the lady on your side of the family through for you, and she's just going, she says, I'm not here to tell you to slow down. I'm not here to tell you to put your feet up. And I'm going, why? She says, because she won't take a blind bit of notice. She'll just do what she wants to do. So I'm going, oh, okay. She's going, they've advertised the Mind, Body and Spirit Fair. I'm going, yeah. She said, well, she's not even thought about, let alone started cooking. And yet she's supposed to have a cake stall, she says, and it will never be ready in time. She says she'll leave it all to the 2 days before and go round like headless chicken. And then she'll get there and go, oh, I need to have a sleep because nothing's working and my back's hurting and my knees are hurting and my ankle's hurting. I think I might have to go home early. Can somebody do my table? She's going, well, pace yourself a bit more, girl. She says, the more you pace yourself, she says, the better it will be. She's also saying as well, there's a change in medication coming for you, but this change in medication will benefit you. But she's saying you'll have to give it 4 or 5 days for it to start to work. But when it does work, boy, will you notice a difference. For the gentleman, when she gets to day 5 on the new medication, go to work, get out the house, because your life will be hell, they're saying, because she'll be wanting this doing and that doing, and she'll have you up and down ladders like a yo-yo. But the two ladies, as I say, they're joining forces around the pair of you now. And they're saying, this year has been very, very hard for the pair of you. She says, but this year now is starting to improve. She's saying, the home that you two have created is very nearly what you want it to be. And she's saying it will get stronger and stronger. I'm being told, right, I don't know if she's married or not. I'm being told about a younger girl in the family, and this younger girl lady is going to be getting married next year. I don't know if they are married already, but there's going to be some sort of ceremony around that anyway. So whether it's a blessing, a renewal, but there's going to be a big do. And they say, don't say, we'll do this, we'll do this, we'll do this. Just say, yeah, we'll be there. Let them organise it. Because your trouble is you like to grab everything by the hands and you keep shaking it until you get your own way. They're saying, let them get on with it and let them organise it. There is a gentleman coming in for the gentleman, and as he comes in, I'm going to say, oh, blimey, you are tall. I'm going to say he's 6 foot, because I'm not quite on my tiptoes, but I do feel quite tall with this gentleman, and he's very straight-backed as well, and he's very matter-of-fact. And he says, you can be very matter-of-fact. He says, the difference between you and him, he says, you look at the surroundings that you're in and you take a deep breath. So you don't always go with the first thought that comes into your head. And he says, you always pick your time and your place. He says, and the more you can do that, he says, the better it'll be for you. He's saying, he's not going to say there's a change of career coming your way. He says, but there is something new coming your way. And he says, stop selling yourself short. He says, listen to what your friends say. Listen to what others say. Read, yes, by all means, read between the lines. But they don't want you to talk yourself out of anything without giving it a good go. But he's saying there is a lot of new beginnings for you, or for both of you. And by April or May of next year, this year will be totally forgotten. It's all about moving forwards, and the more you can move forwards, the better it'll be for you. So from all of them to you, a great deal of love, strength and support, and I'll leave all that with the Perry, so thank you very much. Can I go to young Nick while he's still awake?
Of course you can, darling.
I've got a gentleman who's coming in for you. No, it's him.
Reads him out then.
I don't know if he's got something wrong in his throat. He would have passed in a hospital environment.
Yes.
And I've got a feeling there's tubes down his throat, which is why I'm very hoarse with him.
Yes.
And he's coming in and he's going, I've never forgotten you, you know. And he says, I still keep an eye on you every now and then, you know. And he says, you've got a lot to do next year. Oh, okay. If you give me enough notice, I might be free. Because he's on about a marriage.
But it won't be mine.
Will be yours.
No, it won't.
He says, how many times have you told people it won't happen? It won't happen.
Because the one person who needs to say yes won't.
Just wait and see.
I'll have a bet with you.
Wait and see, he's saying, because there is marriage around you next year. Very, very big marriage around you next year. And he's saying, yes, you've got a lot to look forward to. He's saying as well that he's noticed over the last 2 or 3 weeks, although you're publicising a lot, you're actually pacing yourself a lot better.
Thank you.
And he says, the more you can pace yourself, he says, the better it will be for you. He's saying, don't forget what you do as Nick and this environment. He says, you've got to remember Nick in the other churches. Because he says that the other churches is going to take off next year. He says, so, oh, okay, right. He says, I know you're a stickler for writing things down. He says, but you write things down about everybody else, but you never write things down about yourself. So he's saying you need to keep your own diaries up to date. Because he says, the one thing that annoys you is when you end up double booking yourself. Because he says, but there's a lot going on. He's also saying as well that he thanks you for keeping his memory alive.
Thank you.
He says, because you're one of the few. Although he's on about a club, I don't know if it's a sports club or something.
Yeah,
He says, but there is people there that still talk about him.
absolutely.
He says, the only trouble is they've normally got to have at least half a dozen sherbets. He says, because they get embarrassed otherwise.
Yeah, I can see that.
He says, but he says he still pops in around others. He's just saying he always believed what you told him about the other side. He says, but my God, he says, it's better than you, even how you explained it. He says, even the day I passed away, he says, yes, I saw what you told me I'd see. He says, but boy, he says, when they got me through that gate, he says, what? He says, my feet never touched the floor. He says, I was here, there and everywhere. He says, I thought I was going to have at least a week in hospital. He says, I was lucky if I managed 4 hours. He says, whoop, we need the bed, come on, out you get, nothing wrong with you. And he says, it's been like that ever since. He's just saying as well that there's been a couple of skeptics around you recently.
Yes.
He says, you won't need to do anything, but that will have changed by Christmas. And he says, then if you've got the time and the patience, he says, you can pick them up and put them on the right path. He says, but it'll be your choice. He says, because he doesn't want you to take on too much. Because he says, as much, it's not going to be a challenge, but other people will say it's a challenge. He says, and as much as you like a challenge, he says, you've got others that need more of a priority.
Absolutely.
And he says, because I just said to him, I says, the door's not ajar. He's going, no, he says, not ajar because I'm still beside you, boy. I'm going, oh, okay. He's telling me that I've got to say to you and to Mum, as he puts it, I've got my police uniform on and I've got my trousers pressed and I found all my badges, medals, sorry.
Yes.
Even the one he lost. And he says, I'm all ready for Sunday. I don't understand it. Give me it a different way. Okay. He says, I will be on parade in my police uniform. He says, but I'm not marching with the traffic police. Obviously, you understand what he's on about.
Yeah, I do.
He says, but there could be a bit of trouble. I'm going, why is that then? He says, I've got the mods on the scooters. He says, and I've got the Hells Angels on the Harley Davidsons.
Yeah.
I says, where? He says, right behind me. I'm going, oh, okay. He says, and just in case, he says, I can't keep up. He says, because I've only got little legs. He says, they've got the tricycle for me. I went, which one? He says, the one with the leather seats. So he says, I can jump on that if I need to. He's also saying to Mum, as he keeps calling her, I don't know why he keeps calling her Mum, but to Linda, he's saying, I have been around you a lot recently. He says, and I was sat in the chair to you talking to you last night. He says, and you didn't take a blind bit of notice. He says, but there again, he says, nothing's changed. You never took any notice when I was down there. He says, so nothing's different. He's also saying as well, although he's got a full beard, he keeps spraying aftershave around the house so that you know it's him. He says, especially he's Old Spice and Brute. And he says, that's how he's letting you know that he's around. He's also saying for you as well, he says, right, where are we? He says, you've only got 3 months to go and it will start to get warm again. He says, and then the evenings will start getting brighter again. He says, you know what a sad lamp is?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we're sorting your Christmas present out for you. He's telling you what he wants to get you for Christmas. So you'll have a present from Nick, and then you'll have another present going from hubby via Nick, because he's told him what he wants to get you. And you are to use it, and you are to make you feel better. He says, I've given her that before. She don't want to know. He says, I know she doesn't want to know, but she's got to know. He's still saying, you've still got to get a mobility scooter, girl, because he's going one way or the other. I am determined to get you a set of wheels and get you mobile. And I'm going, why? He said, well, I couldn't get her on 2 wheels. I might get her on 4 wheels. He says, and a little motor. Oh, right. I don't know who's buying you it, but you're going to get a second-hand one at Christmas. It's as if somebody's going to be treating you. And it'll give, once you get over the first 4 or 5 hours, you'll soon get your confidence. And he says, once you get your confidence, there'll be no stopping you. He says, the only thing that'll be stopping you will be going, it's not going fast enough. Why do these people get in my way? And he's going, just do like I used to, run them over. But he's coming through with a lot of love for you, and he's coming through with a lot of strength for you as well. He's also telling me that I've got to say to you that Mum is okay, and that she looks after him, but he looks after her. And he says the family as a whole are all getting on together. So well, obviously there used to be a lot of falling outs and arguments, but he's saying as a whole, all the family's getting on together. So there is a great deal of love and strength. I've just quickly got to come back to you because I've got a lovely lady. Is it who I think it is? Thank you. Wendy says, thank you for the thoughts and the prayers.
Very welcome.
And she says she does pop in every now and then. The lady in the grey top, does she sit in your circle?
After a fashion, but not spiritually.
Wendy's been popping in to see her.
Family, dear. Among other things.
Wendy's been popping in to see her and giving her a
Yeah,
push.
that doesn't surprise me.
Like you, so don't even start. There's no relations of Alan's in tonight, is there?
No, not biologically.
Right.
Anyway.
He needs to thank you for the thoughts that were said. He's also saying put it in properly and nobody can understand. When I talk with the list, everybody seems to understand it. So, younger man, you have to
Always do.
cog it.
Yeah.
Distinguishing features. He says, I like being young again. He says, but I've still got the old mind. He says, because I'm not making the same mistakes twice. And he says, yes, you're pushing forward and you're pushing forward in the right direction. He says, but at the same time, don't forget to pick the baggage up and take it with you. He says, because sometimes people just need that bit of encouragement. And the more they can do that, he says, the better it'll be. So from the whole gang to both of you, a lot of love, a lot of strength and a lot of support. And I'll leave all that one with you. So thank you very much. Can I go to the lady with the denim jacket on, please? As I'm with you. Okie dokie, I'm going. Right. I hope the gentleman sat on your left. I hope you two are together. Thank heavens for that. Otherwise, we've got a big problem here because I've got a young man here and he's putting his arms around you and then he's putting his arms around him and then now he's stood in between the two of you. But he's coming in around you and he's going, I've not forgotten, you know. He says, just because you've not felt me around you recently, he says, I still do pop in. He says, I can't be there for you every day of the week. He says, I've got to do what I've got to do. He says, and I'm as busy up here as I was down there. He says, and obviously, he says, this is important for Mum. I'm going, why? He says, just tell her I've done all my exams and I've passed them. I went, why? He says, oh, is it, she always worried that I'd never pass all my exams. He's going, well, I passed them all. And he's coming through with a great deal of love and a great deal of strength for you. I don't open things up, as you know, but he's saying about 5 or 6 weeks ago you weren't very well. And he's saying you were a bit down in the doldrums as well. He's going, yes, it was me that you could keep seeing walking backwards and forwards in the hallway. He says, I wasn't very far away from you. He says, I was making sure that you were all right. And he says, I'll always be there to give you that lift when you need it. And he's just saying, everything is about positivity. And the more positive you can be, the better it'll be. He's moving over to the gentleman because he's saying, he says, I'm sorry. He says, I do miss you a lot, you know. He says, we didn't always get on. He says, but I'm going to admit to something now that I never admitted before. I went, what? He says, I always listened to what he said and I always tried to act on it. He says, but I used to play up and say, oh, what are you on about? Oh, I don't understand that. And it's as if it went in one ear and out the other. But he says, he kept hold of everything that you said. And he says, you're a very wise man. And he says, because you're a very wise man, he says, that's why you're respected by your friends, but you're also respected by family as well. He's also saying for you, sir, that he knows at the minute you're not as mobile as you used to be. He's saying, but remember, he says, as each year ticks by, he says, you're a year older, not a year younger. He says, so you've got to realise the old joints start seizing up a little bit. He says, a bit like Linda behind you, he's saying, come February, once that warm weather starts coming in, he says, you'll be right as rain. He says, the only thing is, come the end of May, you'll be going, it's too hot. Get the snow back. I can't cope with it. So he's saying you can't have it both ways. But he's saying he's saying your mobility is not going to get any worse than it is. But he says, come the new year, it will slowly start to get a bit better for you again. And he says a bit more freedom. He's also saying as well that you're not somebody to keep your hands idle and your mind idle. So if you've not got a hobby, he wants you to take up a new hobby. And he says, keep yourself busy. Right. He's just saying you've got a very active imagination. So he says you could try writing. He says, but there again, he says, you like a bit of peace and quiet at the same time. So he says, go and lock yourself away. He says, and get yourself a train set. He says, you can lose yourself for about 5 or 6 hours with it. But he says, while you're doing that, he says, you'll get the thoughts and then you can sit down and do a bit of writing and some music. Oh, blimey. Have you bought me his Christmas present yet? You have? Okay. Well, I've got to give you something else for Christmas. He'd like a record player. Because he's got a lot of vinyl. And he'd like to play his vinyl. So he's in the market. Your son's telling me that he's in the market for a new record player. He's going, you're all right. He says, Black Friday started in one. He says, but by the end of the month, Black Friday will be all over the place. He says, you'll be able to get a top range one by the end of the month for what you'd pay for a basic one. There is a lady who comes in for the lady, and she's just coming in. She's putting her arms around you, and she's going, don't burn the candle at both ends as Christmas gets nearer. And she says, pace yourself a little bit more. She says, it's all right baking and cooking. She says, but you need to have the plan of action as well. And she says, the more you two can plan it, the easier it'll be. She's saying, but also remember, keep days free. Then if family or friends say, oh, can you come with us on such? Oh, yeah, we'll go there. Yeah, we'll go there. It's not going to interfere with what both of you have got planned anyway. So they're saying there is a lot of opportunities between now and the new year for the two of you, but there's also a lot of new beginnings going into next year as well. I don't know if it's something you're looking at, but I've got to say it feels more for you than anybody else in the family. I do need to give you a set of keys to a newer property, but this won't be till the middle of the year. It could be a case that you'll see something and go, oh, look at that. The other one looks and goes, oh, that's nice. Oh, okay. It may be that you see something on the internet or somebody talks and you go, whoa, we've got nothing on tomorrow. Jump in the car and go and have a look. And then it gets the old cogs going, can we, can't we? And they're saying, yes, you will be able to. But it's your choice. They're saying, but you'll make all the right ones. So I'm going to leave all that with you and say thank you very much. Can I go to Lady in Green, please? As I'm with you, I've got a lady coming in for you. And as this lady comes in, she's about 5'5", 5'6". She's quite a slender lady. I'm very aware that my fingers are turning inwards. So I know she would have had arthritis or rheumatism in her hands and her fingers. And I'm rubbing my right hand more than my left hand. So I'm going to say she would have had problems with the right hand. And she was also right-handed as well, which didn't help. She was a very good organizer, but she was a very practical woman at the same time. And she's just saying she could be a bit offish with the children because she's saying she had to be the mother, the father, the doctor, the nurse, the school teacher, everything rolled into one. She's saying in later years, she did manage to make amends and pull people closer to her. She says, but some were harder than others. She's just saying that you have got a very special place in her heart, but you've also got a special place in your heart for her. She's on about a gold-coloured chain. She says it's not value money-wise, but it's value sentimental. She's also showing me a silver-coloured crucifix. And I'm also being shown, I'm not a jeweller, dear, you'll have to tell me a bit more. Okay, I'm being shown, she's telling me, an eternity ring that's gold in colour. And then the only thing I can say is the back half is flat with gold, but the top half has got blue and clear stones in it. And she's showing me them. Now, I don't know if there's a stone keeps falling out of it, or there's one that could fall out so nobody will wear it. She's going, it's up to you. If you want to get it fixed, you can get it fixed. She said, and yes, it could be replaced, but the sentimental value attached to it couldn't be replaced. And she's saying, although you're a very strong lady and a very independent lady, she says, you're as soft as anything underneath, though. She says, people look at you and they think, gosh, she's got a rod of iron running through her. She says, I look at her, she says, she's like a trifle on a plate wobbling all over. She says, but you're a very knowledgeable lady. And she's saying, you've done well by helping so many people as you've gone through your life. And she says, you're going to carry on helping people. I don't know if you're working or not, or if you're looking at going back into work, but she says, yes, it will involve helping others. And she says, you'll be very, very good at it. She's also saying as well, she'd like to see you look back through all the notes that you've kept over the years. So I don't know if you've kept diaries or if you used to do little thoughts that came into your head and write them all down. She's saying, put them all together. She says, and you'll be very surprised at what you've got. I'm not saying there's a book in it or there's poems in it, but there's something there that other people would appreciate. And she says, the more you can do that, the better. She's also on about family where there's a lot of mileage between you. There's going to be a lot more contact, especially between now and Christmas, but even more next year. Where there's distance in the family because a link's been broken, that is going to get sorted by Christmas as well for you. But you don't need to do anything. You've done everything that you can do. She's saying it will be an apology. And if anybody else was there, they'll go, that's not an apology. But you know damn well that's the nearest you're going to get to an apology. But it's up to you what you do with it. You can bring it close or you can just come at arm's length. She says, but there's plenty of opportunity for you as well, this gentleman. I do feel past the spirit very, very quickly. And I'm going to say there's a condition around the heart with this gentleman. So I don't know if it's a stroke or a heart attack, but he's saying it played a big part in his passing as well. And he just wants to come in and wrap it, and he comes in with so much love and so much strength. And he says, don't let her smile trick you. I went, what do you mean? He says, she's more of a tomboy than she wants to let on. I went, really? He says, yeah. He says, there's nothing she likes better than letting her hair down and going for it. And he says, there's a time and a place for everything. He says, but he wants to see you. He says, he knows you enjoy life. He says, but there's still a lot more enjoyment out there for you. And he says, the more you can do that, the better it'll be. He's also bringing in, a, God, blimey, that's going back a bit. He's bringing in a child's Silver Cross pram. You understand that, dear? And he's saying it's pride and joy. And he says, I've cleaned it all up. He says, it's just like new. And he's on about, he's got a doll in his arms. And this doll's about 15, 16 inches long. But he's telling me only one eye opens and that there's some hair missing. But he's took the bonnet off and all the hair's back. And as he sits the doll up, both eyes open again. So he's put all, and right, I missed that bit. It's a porcelain doll. So it's got a porcelain face and porcelain hands. But this is in the Silver Cross pram. But he is coming through with a great deal of strength and a great deal of love for you. It's very unusual, but the man and the lady are both saying at the same time, don't forget your spiritual side. I'm going, why? He says, she forgets it. And he says, she shouldn't. You should be delving into it more. You should be using it more. It's not a case of putting it back. He's just saying, never have the time if you don't make the time. So he says, it's up to you. He says, but it's all about choices. And the more choices you make, the better it'll be. So from them to you, a lot of strength and a lot of love. And I'll leave all that one with you as well. Is that it? I'm not going to argue with him. I'm sorry I didn't get around. I'm sorry I didn't get around more of you. I hope you enjoyed the evening. Been an absolute pleasure being with you all. It's too early to wish you a happy December because it's not Remembrance Sunday yet. And until I've done my Remembrance service, December doesn't start. So thank you all for coming. It's been a pleasure being with you all, and all being well, spirit being willing, I'll see you all again next year.
He spoils my surprises every time. You can't keep a blooming secret from this bloke, because we are going to end the service. If it works, please let it work. end the service slightly differently to what we normally do. But on behalf of us all, and certainly on my own behalf, on my cousin's behalf, who's watching and recognised who it was straight away, and to from everyone here, ladies and gentlemen, give it up, John Ennis.
Pleasure, mate. Pleasure.
And the young man who came through 1st is working as my healing guide.
Oh, right. Good for you.
And we had in actual fact, he had a bit of an impact on the whole circle a couple of weeks ago with a healing meditation that I did during a workshop or a circle. And I ended up having to snip the audio out and share with everybody because they liked it so much. So yes, he's had quite an impact. I've got some reminders. First and foremost, don't forget, we've got the workshop Sunday, 10:30. Together a pot of something hot. In a hot pot, but a pot of something hot. But if people would like to bring stuff as well, that would be great. It is £15, but it is 10:30 till 3, and we have a whale of a time. Don't forget that Mandy Smith is at Barroway Drove tomorrow night. She's always a good shout. And also, I did speak earlier about the mind, body, and spirit. Not just a reminder on that, but also an additional that I deliberately left out because I wanted to save it till the end so everyone remembered. If you want some posters, she's worried. Oh, she looked so worried. Where's he going with this one? Absolutely. Yeah. He doesn't need a talcum powder anymore, does he? It's all right. It's how Dad went. If you'd like some of these lovely posters, have a word with Cheryl. She's got loads, and just stick them everywhere. I'll be putting one out there when I'm done, and I'll be taking them around on my travels as well. But if you've got places where you can put posters, Cheryl on that one. And a big, of course, once more, to the guy of, the work of, and the man himself of, John Ennis. I also said we'll be ending slightly differently, and I also said that he'd given the game away. If you were here early, you would have heard something slightly different to normal. Of course, it was mentioned that there was something going on for Alan's birthday, which was this week. Well, for Alan's birthday, I made use of something that I pacing yourself and getting better at it. Yeah, sure. Only took me, 2 years? A couple of years ago, I recorded the White Feather Shamanic Drum Healers doing some drumming. It feels like 2 years. It might not have been that long. Well, for those that have noticed, with the music for the opening of the service, with the healing hymn that we have, with the Bearers of Unity prayer, plus a few of my rather snazzy little pop-style tunes that I'm throwing about lately, I've been learning a lot about making music with AI. What I didn't know until this week is that you can upload your own samples of your own music and it will enhance it and add to it. So for Alan's birthday, to close our service in silent thought and sending out of our thoughts, and I will end with the word Amen, for just a couple of moments, dedicated to Alan. And on behalf of the White Feather Drummers, I'm going to try and close the service with the Shamanic Drum Healers piece of music that has been created by the drummers and enhanced by AI. So, wish me luck that this works. So far, so good. And so may the blessings of the Great Spirit be with you all for now and forevermore. Amen.
Amen.
And for all those that are at home and all those that are here, if you look in the top right-hand corner of the screen, there's a QR code. If you scan that with your phone, you can download it and listen to it yourself at home. So that's for everyone there. But also, when you go home, have a look on. It's up there waiting for you to have a listen. And just like all of the other music that's been created by this church, for this church, it's free to download. So listen at home and think of Alan, especially with that one. But also a big well done to the White Feather Drummers for a wonderful rhythm that you all have. Ironically, that recording didn't have a flute in it, and I normally play Alan's flute, but because I was recording, I didn't. So I think he plays much better than I do. Friends, one last time, a big thank you to our medium tonight, John Ennis, dressed as ever appropriately for that one. Thank you all. We're now going to have a raffle. Let's say it after 3. 1, 2, 3. To everyone at home, good night, and God bless you all. We'll see you next week.